In this episode of Confessions of a Recruiter, we speak to Adam Oldman, an executive HR recruiter from Sydney. Adam's biggest year is $1.58 million. He's got an incredible way of how he goes about business development, taking job briefs, expanding the market. We also dive deep into mental health and how to make sure you can avoid burnout. If you're serious about business development and building a high-performance desk, then this episode you will not want to miss.
Welcome back to Confessions of a Recruiter. We are joined by a legendary recruiter, Adam Oldman. Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Plenty of us here know about your background and your experience, but I might just hand it over to you and give you the floor for a few minutes just to tell the listeners a bit about your journey and how you got to this point.
Yes, so I've been in recruitment for 10 years, doing HR recruitment. I started in Australia, so before that, I had all sales background, so 15 years of sales, car rental, insurance, different types of sales ultimately. Weird story, actually. Years ago, I went down to London to see James Caan. He had a recruitment entrepreneur back in the day. It was just after uni, and they were saying, "Oh, yeah, you can go into recruitment, you can make all this money, and you place all these roles." I just didn't understand it. Like I was just like too young, and they just didn't really explain it properly. So I sort of got exposed to it then. Went to uni, carried on, lived abroad for a little while, and then I came over to Australia. My best friend was over here in pharma, and then when I met Michael Page, my sort of old employer. Went for a medical sales role, and then they do the whole usual, "Oh, have you ever thought about recruitment?" So at the time, jumped into that, went straight into HR recruitment, sort of led their team there. I think we had 5 or 6 at the peak, maybe 7. And then, moved to boutique and been recruiting HR ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
And did you choose HR, by the way, or did they just kind of put you in?
It was just the desk that was available. But it's fitted quite well. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I would enjoy recruiting something very technical.
Yeah.
HR is a lot about culture fit, right? So, it was just what was available.
I mean, lots of recruiters chase high performance, chase growth, get there, and it's just not sustainable, or they don't sustain it. But you've managed to do it year after year after year after year. So what do you put that down to? Have you got any processes, systems?
Process is a big one. Time management, definitely. I think the drive is just naturally in me. However, drive without no process or no systems is chaos, right? So I think Michael Page gave me some real solid foundations in training. I think the sales experience helped because I was previously in quite hard sales roles. Like I've done door-to-door sales as well. Back in the day in Liverpool in the winter, door-to-door sales is not fun. So I think the process, the training that they gave, the time management skills, all the coaching, and you've been there, you know what it's like, what it used to be like. Yeah. So I think that the drive, I think also the hunger just to create a life here as well. Like I was literally creating a new life when I came here. I had nothing really, I had a little bit in my back pocket, but I didn't have anything, no friends, no apartment, nothing like that. So I think the drive, processes, time management, patience, right?
That's a really good segue into what we're talking about around BD as well. This season at the moment, we're all about business development, prospecting, how to build a desk, essentially. When you've relocated to Australia, started again, you've had to go through that natural determination of starting from scratch. Even though it's not a recruitment desk, it's still life starting from scratch, right? Specifically when you're getting into HR recruitment, the funny thing that I was reflecting on is most recruiters are taught to stay away from HR when you're prospecting. Are you the opposite? Are you prospecting into HR? Like what do you specifically do there?
Well, HR is, I'll only talk to HR clients or HR candidates, right? And, talent acquisition would fall into that anyway. So I would always talk to HR. There's no one else I'd need to talk to. Whereas if you're recruiting procurement or tech or something, you might need the line managers. So I don't need line managers, which is different. But people think, oh, it must be so easy then. It's actually the opposite, because those HR managers are getting hounded by all of the recruiters Whereas a tech line manager is probably not getting hounded by a procurement recruiter or a HR recruiter, right? So, and people think, oh, we'll start a HR desk and it'll light up my business. It doesn't. It's the opposite. You know, like you can cause more issues.
So you get it wrong.
Yeah, by doing that.
Ruin it for the company.
Yeah. Well, going back to your point about starting. So I started a cold desk at Michael Page. So it was someone else had touched it a little bit, but it was mine was more professional services, financial services, or white collar. So sort of built it from scratch anyway. And I don't know if you remember back then, there wasn't a huge amount that came through the PSA. Like back then it was all ad chases for me. Like I literally just built my business on ad chases.
Yeah.
And my old boss, who you know, David Cardy, he would always laugh because I'd be on the bus on the way and I'd be checking the ad chases every morning. So I'd check what's come in, save them, think of a candidate for that role. Oh, that's been re-advertised. I'm going to fire them an email or call them, you know. And I used to try and do like, what was it, 9 BD calls before 9 or something at some point, you know. So yeah, you can build cold desks, but obviously it's a hustle, you know.
So how has your BD approach evolved from ad chasing on the bus to where you're at today?
I was just saying to Ed, it's changed, every year really. But, you know, it's gone from ad chasing to leads to more floats to being more consultative, using your candidates a bit more, having trust from your candidates and clients to say, oh, do you know that, you know, they're recruiting over there or they're about to recruit. So it's just become a lot more trusting, consultative, rather than that hard ringing up ad chase. I've got this candidate for you. I'm not sure it works anymore. I don't know because I don't do a lot of that anymore. It might do in some markets, to be honest, in some real transactional markets, but I just feel like hiring managers get absolutely hounded for the ads. And it's like they've put an ad out already. They've already paid for an ad. Give it a few weeks and then maybe check in, you know. But so yeah, it's changed a lot. It's more, and again, it's more around, you know, the posts on LinkedIn, the credibility there. You know, floats, you know, you've got to be very strategic with your floats. You know, like mass floats, don't agree with. You're going to piss people off. You know, work with a couple of candidates at a time, you know, in different niches and see who really could have opportunities for them, and we can go deeper into that. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, so if you could only apply one BD strategy to get more leads, to get more clients, what would that strategy be and why?
It would be leads, and I like either leads or hot boss, we used to call them, right? So for anyone who doesn't know what hot boss is, it's, you know, when you're interviewing them, you sort of know who their boss is. When they resign, you know who to connect with, right? So you're looking at me like, right. So basically it's just knowing who their boss is. So then when they do resign, you know who to connect with, right? So there's that. And then there's...
So that would be your number one BD strategy?
That or... just understanding leads. So when you're talking to your candidates, they're trusting in you. You know, they're letting you know how they're going with their search. You're really helping them with their search. You know, a big life decision, and they can say, "Oh, look, I've just interviewed there. I've just declined the role, or I know that they're recruiting. You know, why don't you? I've just spoke to them. I don't want the role, but why don't you see if they need help? You know, so it's that.
I've always thought candidate management in HR recruitment would be so important because they have a slightly bad experience and they end up as, you know, an HR director somewhere else. They might just not use you. Yeah. And without going into the name of the client, it did happen at Michael Page. Someone had a bad experience as a candidate and it just locked an entire company down. Did you have a candidate management process? I know we're kind of still not talking about prospecting, but I think it's kind of intertwined.
Candidate management process, not a specific process, no, but it's just, a lot of it is about just being commercial. Can I really help this person? Where am I going to put them? Where are they going to fit? Are they already in loads of processes already? Am I wasting their time? You know, so I think it's just about being commercial rather than having a process. And you know, if I've got roles to recruit, and especially if they're retained, they take full first, right? Like compared to anything else. So I'm mainly talking to the roles for my candidates for my roles. So yeah, I don't really have a specific process, but when I see a good candidate, I'm all over them. And I will try and do something with them. I think, and it might come into other questions, but, I think us as recruiters, this is just maybe a belief, but this is my opinion. I think we can be very reactive. If I meet a really great candidate today, oh, okay, I've met you, you're great. I don't have a role for you. I'll speak to you in 3 or 4 months. Like, that's not how it should be. It should be, okay, you're great. Who do I know that I can connect you with? Where would you suit, So I think it's about being proactive. Can you create proactive conversations? And there'll be times where, a quarter, I might add a 50 or 100K from those introductions, from strategic floats. I used to do a lot of that.
So how do you change and shift your mindset from the recruiter who's ad chasing, being super transactional, to then being more in tune with your conversations to pick up when those leads or this hot boss, is that what it's called? Like, how do you change your mind from a transactional recruiter, or your mindset, from a transactional recruiter to doing this like hot boss kind of leads, like where are you interviewing, and then going to call that? Because for me, I feel like I've heard that a lot, but I've never executed on that. I've either forgotten or I haven't done it too good, and then I've just kind of done what I've normally done in the past.
Well, we were doing that when we were doing the ad chases. It was still in that era when we were at Page, when I first started, right? And, we used to have a whip. I used to do it with my team Monday and a Wednesday. We had a sort of a whiteboard. It sounds very like strict, but it was actually quite fun. So we had like sticky notes, and there was like 5 or 6 sections, and it'd be like, okay, what do you want to achieve from now to Wednesday? What roles are you stuck with? How many leads have you got? How many BD calls have you made? And then, floating candidates, what top 3 candidates have you got, or whatever. So it was like a process like that. It was a real sales environment, right? So I think it's creating that sales environment. So maybe for people who are just starting in recruitment, I think that really works. They need structure, they need process, they need time management skills. And if teams and businesses can feed that into new consultants, it's going to help them a lot. Because I've actually noticed there's been a few consultants that I've worked with in a boutique who haven't had any global experience. They've gone straight to a boutique, struggled time management wise, organization wise, creating business. But the people that have been in a bigger, then they go global, great. It's not always, but I have noticed if you just go straight boutique and you haven't got the big resource for training and all of that, it can be hard because the directors just want to bill and create work. So then the rookie's like, oh, not really learning, So I think that's important.
And just from a prospecting standpoint, how often are you cold calling? Like, have you got a cold list of people that you call three people a day? What's kind of like the metrics of your cold outreach?
Like now, I don't do hardly any cold because none of it is really cold now. But again, going back for people who are just starting or whatever, like it used to be every day. That's the thing. It's consistency. I always used to have it in my diary. It was either 9 o'clock or then I moved it to 10. But yeah, us people I used to work with, it was every day, BD every day. Obviously if you've got a retainer on, that's more important. But back then it was every day.
What's like the one thing that a recruiter needs to stop doing when thinking about BD and prospecting?
I think procrastinating on it. Like, yes, you want to have a bit of a plan. Be yourself, be authentic, listen, and at least do 5 minutes prep before you call on that role, who it reports into, how many times it's been re-advertised. Just do your due diligence really, and then pick the phone up and call and give them other reasons why they should use you. Don't be the same as every other recruiter. Tell them about a similar role you just recruited. Tell them about your background, whatever it may be, or affiliation with their brand, or some new facts about the brand that they think, oh, how does she know that,
Okay, yeah. So before Ed goes into like the discovery call kind of framework and how that works, so are you still doing BD just in existing accounts, are you? Is that kind of what you're doing?
Yeah,
is that
they're warm, right? Yeah. And the relationships are already there and they already know me and the brand, so it is easier. But yeah, again, if I've got a lot of retained work, I don't need to do as much kind of anymore. Like I still do it, but it's not like I used to do it.
And I want to ask, because gave me a flashback when you said 9 before 9. Like, what was the process behind that, the thought process about doing 9 BD calls before 9 o'clock?
I don't know who I got it from.
I thought it was 10 before 10.
It could be that. I used to do 7 before 7, but whatever.
I did 3 before 3.
No, I think it was based around, gatekeepers don't start till 9 or something, or starting your day in a positive way, something like that.
Yeah,
but
it was before they start their day and they get into their meetings, right? And get them on the way to work or whatever. But again, I think a lot's changed from them. Like people work from home. A lot of people don't have the landlines anymore. You know,
true. Yeah.
We used to hammer the landlines. Yeah, it's just crazy.
World's changed. So jumping into discovery calls, those discovery meetings, and there's no job yet, but you're really, fact finding, needs analysis. Did you have a structure to how you used to run it, or how you used to work with your team on that?
Yeah, and again, I didn't have like a full template, but I basically asked the same sort of, say, 10 questions, but it could be in a different order. And it's weird. It's kind of like just stuck in me, but it'd be a similar approach, but maybe in a different order. So yeah, it's more, what have you done so far? Give me a background on the business. I let them talk. So what I'm doing there, downloading information to sell back to, right? So it's just sales. So download the information, but yeah, it'll be, what have you done already? What isn't the role? Tell me what this role isn't, because as recruiters, we assume a lot.
Yeah.
We assume it's exclusive with us. We assume that they've got the budget. Never assume anything in life, right? So yeah, and then everything else is pretty standard, in terms of the job brief. But I do like to go a bit deeper about, what's the wider team like? Do they need coaching? What do you like as a manager? Anything you don't like seeing on resumes? Any particular brands you want to see? All of that stuff.
Did you have any questions? Like, I used to love asking what's not on the job brief, like that you're not allowed to put on there. Like, what is the thing about the role that you can just share with me? Did you have any kind of silver bullet questions you used to ask?
No, not really. Not on the job brief. There's anything different, to be honest. But again, it's you can assume a lot, but you just have to really be explicit sometimes. So you can go, they mean this. They want a mid-level business partner or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We have to say, okay, so you definitely want to pay X amount. You don't want to pay X, because you've got to be very, very clear on briefs, because we've had it a fair amount as well, where you recruit a role and it starts at 180, for example. So I've just had it recently. Started at 180. We go up to 220. We got someone at 220 base.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we knew that months ago, we'd have saved a lot of time. You would have had different candidates. So yeah, I think it's just been very explicit when they say that that's their budget. Is it really? And you're ultimately doing 2 searches then. You're doing a 180 search and you're doing a 220 search. So it's like you're doing double your time. So split your fee in half ultimately, because
how do you stop that from happening?
Being just very frank, and just being very honest. You can also show them either on the brief, on the day, this is what you get. I like to do that a lot, is this is what you get at this level, but this is what you get if you pay a bit more. Which do you want? You tell me. It doesn't matter to me either way. But you can just give me a bit of a feel from these profiles. Because ultimately, sometimes they don't know what they're looking for. Like they brief you on a unicorn.
What about when you meet them and there's no job? Do you go in with some objectives that you want them to come away from this meeting thinking, okay, next time I'll work with Adam, or okay, I think there's some value here. Do you go into those meetings?
Yeah, 100%. And you should go to those, because sometimes they come off. I've been to loads of meetings where I've had nothing for a year or 2, and then next minute you're working with them, or they're a candidate, for example. So yeah, definitely go to those meetings and try and get something commercial out of it, whether it's insight, give them insight as well, give them something.
What insights would you give?
On the market. That's what they want to know, right? Like, we as recruiters have got so much knowledge about the market. Like, we know too much really about businesses and candidates and structures. So whatever they kind of want to know to a certain extent, obviously you can't reveal everything, but that's power. When you call your property real estate agent, you want to know about the market, so I think that's pretty key. I think when you go into meetings, as well, to your point, asking, if you do have a role, would you consider me for the role to run the search for you? And, if not, why not? Because then you sort of, one, it's a confidence play. Two, it's credibility. Three, it's also you can query anything in the meeting. They might go, oh, well, you guys are a bit small, a bit boutique. I like bigger. And it's like, you can objection handle there and then, and it's better in person, right?
Yeah.
So those meetings are good. But again, it's about being commercial. If you know that you're not on a panel, they can't work for people who are not on a panel, they don't use recruiters, or they're just not a decision maker. Is it worth your time? Not sure.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Confessions of a Recruiter, brought to you by X-Recruiter. X-Recruiter helps ambitious recruiters like you start, run, and grow their own recruitment agency. Whether you're in blue collar, white collar, permanent, or temporary recruitment, we help recruiters go from where they are today to where they want to be. So if you want to start your own agency, reach out and we'd love to help.
How did you coach your team? And we've all been there, and I've been there myself as a recruiter, where you're probably not confident enough with your insights, or you're not even thinking like that. So you think, what I'm going to do is just tell you how great the business I work for is, all the things we do. And it just becomes a pitch and they glaze over. How do you help your recruiters or people you've managed in the past avoid that?
I don't think the business they work for is the sell and is the pitch, to be honest. Maybe the people that are in the business or that person that's going to recruit that role for you, their network, what roles they've done before, what's their talent reach like, why they're different. I think that's more what I would play on, rather than, because if you're just relying on the brand, you won't last very long. So and just providing, just having those general insights, but also asking them as well. I always do this at the end of a job brief. Any other questions? What else do you want to know about the market? Anything else you want to ask me? Far away. And it's like, and I'm literally open, but it's literally saying to them, I'm comfortable with whatever you're going to ask me.
Yeah.
Because I know my market.
Yeah, that's a really good segue to job briefs, because job briefs sometimes can be very shallow, and sometimes clients, I think you've made it a really good point on it before, they actually don't know really what they're looking for. And sometimes I'll say, I want someone with this experience, but it's not until you dig a little bit deeper, then you go, oh, you're not looking for that. That's not going to solve that problem. So what do you do specifically through the job brief process to kind of uncover deeper pain points over and above, I want someone with 3 years experience in this industry?
Yeah. Just questions, listen. I think listening, elaborating, clarifying. Okay, so you said this, so do you mean this? Because again, you can be assuming a lot of the time. Give examples. So if I get you X, Y, Z, or are you going to be happy with that, or do you still think that we need this system, for example? Is
there a one-liner that kind of opens up a new pathway of conversation and rapport that you typically default to?
Not really, no. It's just having an honest, genuine, transparent, curious conversation. Just go in there, be yourself, ask the right questions and listen, right? And if you've done some prep work, like spend 20 minutes prepping, 15 minutes max. Company, team, the JD, high-level points, questions, done. I think if you go in like that, then you should be fine. But yeah, there's not one specific thing I would say, no.
Yeah, okay. What do you do if you're not getting clarity on the role and you feel like there's a big gap between what they think they need and what you could possibly deliver? Again,
it's having the confidence, and this comes with experience. And this is not cockiness. It's a confidence in your market. You're not going to get a business partner for 130. They're just not 130 anymore. They're 150. They start at 150. I can give you someone at 130, but they're going to be a HR advisor, for example, Do
you try and open up the brief? I think we were having a conversation before around once you get the brief, you kind of push them hypothetically a little bit this way and a little bit this way, and take that out and put that in. So as you kind of put just before, if you're looking at someone for 130, maybe, they're not a HR BP, they're a HR advisor, and we're going to take this out. And how does this feel? Like, what's that kind of that kind of exploring phase of pushing the boundaries, either on salary, on experience? How do you go about that, if at all?
Yeah, so it's more showing them that I want to get this right for you. if we don't get it right the first time, it's costly. And let's just get it right now. Let's go deeper now. And you're just clarifying all of that and clarifying the brief, and just putting, trust into them, and hopefully they will trust you, But a lot of it comes from like credibility and what you've done before, I think.
How do you get that if you don't have the runs on the board?
That's a hard one because you're a rookie.
We used to get told a lot, like you'd sell the experience of your team. So, you've got 1 year, but within the team, there's 20 years of experience.
Yeah.
And we've been in the market this long, and then you can always default to asking someone else, basically. That would be a quick default. Yeah.
Yeah. We've just had this role. We've just ran that search. And you can even talk about brands as well. Like, talk about similar brands that you've just recruited for. That is like gold. And people want to be affiliated with that. So it was interesting when I was actually running the team at Michael Page. When I got there, it was all industry specific. So like I said, I was doing banking, finance, professional services, IT, or white collar, which is crazy because where I am now, where it's sort of normally is salary levels, and you do any industry. And I think there's kind of power in that. I think it's better doing it salary levels. But if you go to a pharma company, you're taking a brief, and you've just literally had a similar role with another pharma company, they want that. They're like, wow, he's got people that are highly, highly relevant. So definitely talking about similar briefs you just had, similar clients you just had.
So do you think did you say industry is better, or you think salary is better? Because can you jump as an HR VP to a different industry, or do you want to stay within mining or something?
Yeah. So what I meant by that is I was only allowed to recruit in those industries specifically. All salary levels, but now I just do specific salary levels, all industries. But the other question that you were asking, any HR person can move from virtually any industry. Blue collar to law firms, very hard. It's got to be kind of similar.
Slowly aligned, yeah.
White collar and blue collar is where it becomes tricky.
Is there like standard or typical objections that you face in HR recruitment, particularly at the levels you're recruiting? Do you tend to face the same objections in terms of working with you?
And it can't be, I'll chat to HR.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not really, apart from, they're sort of doing it themselves. But it's not necessarily a HR thing, but it's the whole budget and all of that, right? And like, I don't really work contingent, to be honest. Like,
Why?
I don't see value in it anymore. Like, you name me something where you get a service with doing loads of work and then you get it for free. Like, real estate agents don't do work until you sign the contract. So why are recruiters working for free? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's an industry thing. So I think there's sometimes pushback on retainers. We all know a retained search is a better search. It's a fact. Like, you can take your time. It's more thorough. It's better for them. They know where they're at. They might get a little bit of a discount, even though you shouldn't really give a discount because you're giving more service. There's loads of different reasons. But I think, the industry as a whole gets pushed back on fees. And we had one the other day, global brand, great brand, to go to market with. What fees do they work out? It was crazy. It was like from 9 to 16. It's like, who's working at 9%?
No way. Somebody somewhere said no. It's like when I came to Australia from England, I thought, who's said 15% over here? Because now everything's that.
Yeah.
But I've got a question on the retainer piece. I would just be asking that question to every HR person I meet. Why do you not do retainers as a standard? Do you ever ask that? Do they ever give you any feedback on that?
No, it's because there's some other players that work in that way, right? Yeah. So it's like, well, why can't you work in that way? Well, because I'm not them, and I'm giving a different service, and that's what most people should believe, right? If you really believe in the work that you're doing, it's all about value you believe you can provide, but also how much they perceive the value. Because if you're working on contingent, non-exclusive roles, that client doesn't really value you. When they come to you and it's like, retained, we know it's retained with you, we know that's how you work, we want you to work it, we like your network, we love how you can do tricky searches, but that comes with time. Like, I'm not naive to think that someone who's just starting recruitment is going to go out and sell retainers. There's no reason why they can't if they pitch it right. but it's obviously not realistic,
Have you got any examples of where you have turned a client from it's just a no or just contingent to now they're a client here and it does retained?
Yeah. Recently had it, actually. It was a fairly big brand, listed, like 5,000 people here. And the first search that we did was contingent exclusive, quite high fee. I think it was like 20 or 22%. Placed that. A couple of months later, came with another role, a lot more niche. I just said, look, it's a niche search, going to need a lot more work. It helped that it was confidential as well. There's a lot more of that happening in my market anyway, probably other markets, because there's so much restructuring and redundancies. So that to me is like, you need confidentiality, you need pace, you need a deep search. I can't tell people who the brands are. It's got retainer written all over it, like it's, so it was like, we need to do it that way. And we did it that way. And that was in a couple of months, So it's not to say that that's a good question, because people do think, we've always worked at these terms and contingent, so we can't do retain with them. Of course you can.
Yeah. Are there any objections that you like hearing because that it's relatively straightforward to overcome? Or
Yeah. I had it the other day with the one I was talking about before, the 9 to 12%. It was, they needed people really quick. They'd already been to an agency, then they came to us, and they thought that they were scoping the market, getting more candidates quicker by going to 2 agencies.
Right.
But I said to them, I was like, with all due respect, you're giving us X amount of time, you've already been to someone else, you've had your own search, like it's not commercial for us, like it doesn't work for us.
And there might be some damage I need to undo in the market if a few agencies have gone scattergun in there.
100%.
Yeah. But also on that, clients sometimes, some can get, annoyed and get a bit hissy with you. But if you say, look, I don't work like that, and I can't work the role contingent unless it's, retained or at least, a third up front, some respect it and go, okay, well, you know your worth, and others go, okay, well, I'll go somewhere else, But at least if you hold your standards high and that's the roles that you want to recruit, go and recruit those roles.
How often would someone come back to you? Let's say they go, we only do contingent. And you go, sorry, it's got to be a retainer. Has anyone ever come back to you?
Yeah, I've had it a few times, like previously in my old organization. But again, it's like, why didn't it work with the first agency? Is it just a bit of a basket job, when things like that happen? Well, I have done it before, and then we have gone retained and then probably filled it. But it's just not ideal, right? The search it seems like a hard one when things like that happen.
And final question for me around objections. We all face them in recruitment all the time. It's fees, it's multiple agencies, whatever it is. Have you got any advice for, a recruiter, more junior recruiter who, how to stay confident when they're facing objections? Do you have any kind of framework that you used or anything you'd say around a mindset, something like that?
Yeah, again, it's more listening, reaffirming what you've heard is right with them as well. So you're telling me that you can't do retain because you can't do upfront, invoices or whatever it may be. So just clarifying things, but there's not really there's not a specific process on objections to be. It's all very bespoke and unique, right? It's just listening and having those mature, honest, commercial conversations.
What's the most common objection you get? We're doing it ourselves.
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves. And I think at the moment, the market is just it's not amazing anywhere, really, for most industries in recruitment. I feel like the economy is not great as well. So that recruitment spend might not be there. TA, talent acquisition, obviously we recruit for that. That has been the quietest in the last 2 years. I always look at TA as a reflection of the recruitment market. When TA is busy, the recruitment market's pumping. 2022, 2023, 2020, when the TA is dead, the market's dead because organizations aren't recruiting. So right now, a lot of talent acquisition people, obviously want to keep their jobs, right? There's been a lot of redundancies in TA, unfortunately. So it comes down to a lot at the moment around budget. They've got ads out.
Okay, so if someone said to you, look, we're just doing it ourselves, we've got some ads out, how would you overcome that?
Well, it'll be, you're only getting the active market, right? So do you want to see the passive market? Do you want to see people from my network who are in the passive market who you have not seen already? And that, I used to put that on a lot of my BD chases on email as well. It's like, okay, so you're capturing the active market. So you're only getting, 25% of the market really. Mm-hmm. A lot of the good candidates used to be more passive. So do you want to see people who we're representing who you won't see from the ad because they don't have time to apply? I'm representing them exclusively. I'm their agent. I had it the other day actually with Singapore, and they do business very differently and recruitment very differently. And they basically had an ad out and they wanted to see who I had. But when I was talking sort of brands, they were like, oh, we've already got that person. Like they'd done a talent pool, like a talent map. And I was like, yeah, but that means you've talent mapped the whole market. And they're like, oh yeah, but if we reach out to them, they'll reach out to us. And I was like, well, actually no, because that industry that it's in HR is quite niche. And those types of candidates don't want people to know that they're looking because all of the different brands talk to each other. So like in that case, she wouldn't have responded if they had reached out directly because I was representing her highly confidentially. So that's another sell.
I like that.
Yeah.
And fees, like how often do fees come up for you? And what's the kind of general ballpark for fees that you find yourself at?
Yeah, like currently in my role, established desk, established business that's been going for 20 years. We play at my level, so I've normally done sort of that 150 to 240-ish, but recently more 170 to 240, 250. So it's normally like 18%, sometimes 22, really around that mark.
And how do you overcome objections when you've got someone that goes, no, that's a bit too high? Like
Well, ask them why. Like, why do you think it's high? Like, yes, there might be another agency that's doing 15, 14, but why are they doing 15, 14 and I'm doing 18? I don't have pushback from other clients. This is sort of my average fee. I'm happy to compromise for you if there's something else in return, maybe another role or have the invoice paid quicker or whatever it may be. It's called negotiation, right? Yeah. Like in anything, it's like if I'm going to do something for you, can you do something for me?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more around that. And if you're only competing on price, it's all about speed then, right? And no one wants to be against another agency and you're just competing on speed. So I think price is, if you know your worth, hold your own. If it's 1 or 2%, think commercially, but it's all case by case, right? Like if you're new to recruitment and you can easily fill this role, take it, but don't do it at 12, 15. Okay. It depends on the desk. It depends on the business. It depends on the volume. It depends on the client.
So what kind of mindset would you have for a more rookie recruiter? Maybe they're 3 or 4 years in. Fees are a bit of a challenge for them. They're stuck at 13, 14%. They keep butchering the end of the job brief, of the discovery, of the process, and then they get to the end, it's 13%, it's 14%, and they're trying to get
They just want the job at that point, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get their fees higher. Like what kind of tips have you got for them to get their average fee from 14% to 16%?
Just more skills and training in negotiation and value offering and your EVP. Like, what are you actually offering to the market? 13% sounds terrible, right? Like, it doesn't sound good. So, like, are you offering a good service? Have you got good candidates? Like, why are you doing 13? It's a hard one, really. I think you've got to go back to what's the business offering? Like, why are we in business? Why are we unique? Who have we got in the business that is credible? Can we send some more senior guys in to bring the fees up and go on those briefs with them maybe? And then the rookies can learn. Do more training with people.
So try and tie it back to your process.
Yeah, you got to go from the start, because to me that's a kind of a failed business, because it's so low. Like, you shouldn't be doing, like, it's basically saying, I don't think I'm that good at my job, and I'm not sure, like, if I'm going to fill it or not. So, like, I'll do it for 12 or 13.
I always have it hammered into me. Like, you sell the entire service, right? So I can get made to be on a bus. or I can go in an Aston Martin. And the Aston Martin gives me a very different experience to getting where I need to go. And actually it's the long list, it's the short list, it's the mapping. So probably outlining the process is probably how a rookie recruiter can uplift the fees, because I can ping over some CVs, 13% if one of them sticks, or this is the journey we're going to go on together. So maybe there's a bit of that in there.
Yeah, that's interesting, because the agency that I used to work at before I started my own business, the fee schedule was 10%, no guarantee, 12%, 0 to 60K.
It's you that's brought the fees down, basically.
Yeah. And I used to recruit, and they'd go, "Oh, mate, what's this 10% one?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, 10%. Oh,
you're never going to hear from me,
because it's 10% any salary, no guarantee." And so you'd be recruiting a 100K role, and you would be thinking, "Okay, I'm going to chalk up maybe an 18K fee here, something like this," and they go, "Yeah, mate, this 10% looks good. I don't need a guarantee period. It's sweet. I'm really confident in this guy." And you're like, fuck, I just chopped my fee in half.
Yeah.
And it was part of the terms. And it's probably taken me, 2 or 3 years when I started Bandito. Now it's just 22% any salary package. I don't care if it's a 50K role, not that you recruit them, but or a 200K role. It's just 22% and then that's it. And do you have how do your terms look? Is it gated on salary?
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, I don't know how much I agree the way the industry is like that, because
it's the same.
Now that you put it like that,
harder.
I kind of like the 22, but that's just the fee.
It's just 22% of whoever we find. It's 22%.
It should be more flat fees, and sometimes I think, shouldn't it be the other way around? So the more senior roles,
the higher.
It should be the less percentage, and the lower salary ones should be more percentage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would make sense, but we can't talk like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the problem, and I'm not going to go on a rant here. I'll finish it up after this kind of segue. But you're dealing with we used to recruit in retail, and so it was a 55K plus super, and they'd only pay 10%, and so you're talking 5K, 6K fees, and you'd have to speak to 100 people to try and find one person, and they don't take their career as seriously. They don't really care. They don't really answer their phone. They'll say they'll go to an interview. They don't turn up. They don't it's just that when you're dealing with a kind of the more entry level end of the market, the roles are actually 10 times harder, and you get a quarter of the fee. So it's really interesting when you think about these gated fee rates around.
Comes down to how much that person's going to impact the business. Surely,
that's a good point.
Impact. That must be
that's actually a really good
and think for going back to the people that are doing the 13-14% and struggling to get it up, like they've just got to go back to their offering and like how they position themselves in the market, and like because ultimately clients come to us to solve a problem and for our network, right? Really, so it's like they need to work more on that and their negotiation and their value.
Look, there is another kind of section. It's not exactly business development, but I think you're hopefully quite comfortable talking about this. And it's something that recruiters struggle with. And I think I've been through this without even realizing, and that's burnout. And that's something I think you've spoken a little bit about. Like, when did it happen for you? And when did you kind of realize that, maybe you were struggling?
Yeah, I had burnout quite bad. And look, I think that word gets thrown around quite a lot recently. When you're burnt out. And I think the definition, look it up, it's something like when you're emotionally, physically, it's either spiritually or energetically depleted, right? So if you're a little bit tired, you're not burnt out. Burnout is very different. It's where, and there's a scale, right? There's, like everything. It's where you start getting cynical about your job, your health stops going, you get sick a lot, I be getting headaches or whatever it may be. Like I say, you're very cynical about your role. You might be messing up process. You might be getting angry or whatever it may be, but you just don't feel like yourself. And you've probably took on too much, or it's been building, and then you've took on too much ultimately. So for me, it wasn't just a one day, I'm burnt out. It actually happened I think it was 3 times until I realized I need to change something here. So it happened I'd have big quarters and big years or whatever, and then hit a bit of a wall, I need a couple of days off here, and then work would give me.
What were you feeling?
just like really drained.
Sad? Is that kind of borderline?
Not overly happy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was sad, but like very drained, low energy, feeling a bit sick, feeling quite stressed. Another feature of burnout is nothing gives you happiness. And the most important bit is what used to give you happiness doesn't give you happiness anymore. Okay. So if you used to love walking your dog, walking the beach, going to the gym, it was just like, yeah, whatever. And you just go very robotic, right? But yeah, I'm very passionate about the burnout. I've got a friend, Chibs, he's a burnout coach. He's a good friend of mine now. He was my burnout coach, and he's a burnout meditation facilitator on the COAR app. So he's great. So yeah, we've done a lot of work together.
So you can obviously come out of the burnout, or you can actually find a way through it.
You can, but like I say, it's not like it doesn't just come in and that's it. So I would have that burnout, then I would go to a retreat for a week. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I'm sweet, I'm chilled, I've ate good food, and I've detoxed and all of that. I'd come back and I'd just do exactly the same as what I've just done. Not changed any habits. Oh, I'm going to be a bit more chill. I'm not going to look at my phone at night. Do the same. Another quarter goes by, or a couple of quarters, whatever. Same thing again. So you've got to listen to your body. So I was very in my head and not in my body. You've got to listen, to your body and the signs it's telling you. So yeah, it'll creep up on you basically if you don't look after yourself. Like health is number one, and you won't be a good recruiter or businessman or whatever if you haven't got your health. So yeah, it does creep on.
Because people don't talk about it very much. Can you see it in other people? Like, or do you have to be very aware in yourself?
Well, I would, because I've experienced it.
Yeah.
And some good managers should be able to pick it. Like, if you really know your team or you know your colleagues, there's been a few times where I've had to say, are you okay? Is everything all right? And normally, like, yeah, I'm just a bit like tired, or I've got a lot going on with the kids at home and all that. Like it's full on, right? So. Yeah, you should be able to pick it in your colleagues and your team, definitely. I think there needs to be more training on it, to be honest. But you yourself should sort of know if you're not feeling right physically, mentally. Like I say, you run down, you're a bit cynical, what you used to love. And if you're not getting joy out your role anymore, but you used to, what's changed? The role hasn't changed. The market might be a bit different. It's your mindset. Your body is like, I can't do this 5 days a week on the phone, 10 hours. I used to be on the phone on Michael Page 11, 12 hours a week.
And I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people listening who are feeling exactly that. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, yeah, there was definitely phases in my career where I was there. What advice would you give someone who's going through that now? What should they do? What's the next step?
Yeah, good question. Like, a time out is great. Just take a week, 2 weeks, whatever you need to take, hopefully your organization is supportive. Do some healthy, good things for you and your soul. You might not go to the gym. You might start doing yoga. You might just be doing walks. You might do massages. Connect with friends as well, because that's another thing. Your friends probably realize you've gone a bit more cynical or whatever, or just tired. Rest, go on a holiday, eat well, sleep well. It's all holistic. Yeah. It's not one thing. You can't, I go to the gym, but then I drink beers and eat crap. No, you need to sleep well, eat well, drink well, all of that. It's a holistic thing. So yeah, I think just bringing it back to that, but taking the time, and don't feel guilty about taking the time as well, because if you burn out, you probably deserve the break, right? Like because recruitment's intense. It's full on, for a lot of people. Some people get quite emotional about it. I think the longer you're in it, the less emotional you are. Like if I was to get a back out, I'm just like, okay, I'll just find someone else. But when you first start and you get a back out,
wait till you've had a few hundred, you're like, all right.
move on.
You're getting a back out before the back out happens. You're like, I know where this is going. Let's go get a new one.
Yeah. But there's lots of help out there for burnout as well. And some people could be not burnt out, but mentally going through stuff, right? Like there's a lot of men, you boys probably know as well, like men's suicide rate is through the roof, especially in Australia. So, men don't talk a lot, but there's a lot of help out there. There's free help, you can get psychologist sessions on Medicare, like there's stuff online. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your colleagues. So I think talking about how you're feeling is
So identify it in yourself.
yeah.
Talk to people, change a bit of your habits.
Yeah.
I like the things that you said there about the things that didn't make you happy. So did make you happy, don't make you happy anymore. I think that's kind of a, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I've certainly been there.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that. So we spoke about a lot. What do you think the biggest key takeaway for a recruiter is from this chat?
Probably just a few gems in each topic, to be honest. But I think it comes down to a lot is to do with credibility. I think for someone who's just starting in recruitment, time management, persistence, be a sponge around those senior people, ask questions. You've got to be resilient, because when you're starting recruitment, you're going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a few back outs. So I think those pieces, but a lot of the other stuff that I've talked about, the little gems there, I think.
Yeah, love that.
Nice.
All right, are we ready for the game?
The game. Let's do it.
So these are the rules of the game, mate. Your name is your buzzer. I'm going to ask the question. It's multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. If you know the answer before I'm finished, you can just buzz straight in. Best of 5.
Yeah.
It's not best of 10. Best of 5. Loser has a shot of whiskey.
I don't drink, but
That's fine.
Yet.
We'll work out another one.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Who won the most Formula One World Championships?
Ed. Who is Hamilton? Because he had one taken off him.
Correct.
There we go.
Jeez. Okay, here we go. Question number 2. 1 Ed, 0 Adam. Who played John McClane in Die Hard 19...
Bruce Willis.
Oh.
it's going to be 5-0, but
It needs to be 3-0.
Which rapper is known for the album The Chronic?
Ed.
Dr. Dre. Oh,
He got it right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
that's
give him that
Adam.
one. Yeah.
We'll give him that. All right, it's 2-1. It's 2-1. All right, this is another film, but this should be an easy one. Actually, no, it's an Ed one. I want to throw Ed off.
Feels like everyone wants me to lose.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we
it's
don't do the
fine.
game for you to win all the time. Which singer is known as The Voice and won The Voice Australia? A. Delta Goodrum. B. Jessica Mauboy. C. Tina Arena. D. Kylie Minogue.
Adam.
Ed.
That was Adam.
A.
Congratulations. We're 2-all. 2-all. You both got to be extremely quick with this too, okay? Just
Okay.
get on your buzzers, please.
Okay.
Which Australian city is closest to Antarctica?
Ed.
Yeah.
Come on, Ed. You
It's that-
can't
Hobart,
do that
Hobart,
shit. You
Hobart.
can't say Ed.
Where was a timer? I was thinking, where did a timer come into it?
Okay. Let me just ask a question straight up.
All right, here we go.
This is the tiebreaker. This is for the win. In the wild world of recruitment, what's the boldest move a hiring manager can make to snag top talent? A. Offer a 6-figure signing bonus with a private yacht party to seal the deal. B. Slide into the candidate's DMs with a personalised rap video about the job. C. Promise a corner office, unlimited tacos, and a pet llama for the employee lounge. D. Host a Hunger Games style competition where the candidates battle for the role.
Ed.
Ed.
Going to go 25% chance here. B. Slide in the DMs with the
I'd
rap.
go with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Answer's
nice.
B.
That's a
Congratulations,
win.
Ed.
Well, yeah, that was good.
They should do that, hiring managers. Just a little rap.
Yeah, they should.
little rap
That'd
in
be
the
so
DMs.
good.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
Well, mate, thank you for joining us on Confessions. It's been
good.
really fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
the
we've got
question.
one thing to go.
Right, okay.
You need to answer the question of our previous guest who wrote in the diary.
It's like a diary of the CEO sort of thing.
No, this is Diary Recruiter. This is totally original.
Okay. What would you be if you were not a recruiter? You can be anything. Be cool to be a DJ, wouldn't it?
A rapper.
Adam, DJ,
It'd be
Oldman.
great to be a DJ. But if it was a bit more serious, probably something around burnout, to be honest, or like men's mental health.
Love it.
And to be honest, I may do something like that, in the future, maybe on the side. But meditation, I'm very passionate about as well. And, let's call it mindfulness, because I know people get the ick when you say the word meditation, like we're sitting here cross-legged, going,
Isn't that, is that not what you do?
No. So, yeah, because it changed. Meditation changed my life, to be honest. Like since I've been here 10 years, I've been doing meditation every morning. And I would say that has definitely played a factor in my career and my happiness and creating a life for myself, to be honest, because without it, my mind is very busy, you know, so it just calms me down, brings me back to center. And I might do it like morning, maybe at lunch, you know, before bed, whatever. Even if you do it once a day.
What do you do specifically?
So I've got an app. There's loads of apps. Calm app, Insight Timer's free. Literally put your headphones in, sit in bed or sit in a chair or on the floor, whatever you want, and just listen. And it's just coming back to yourself. You know,
what are you listening? You're listening to what it's saying.
So there's a facilitator who will take you on a journey. You know, it could be a gratitude meditation. It could be a body scan. It could be affirmations before a day. So you use different ones for certain things. You know, if you're nervous about a meeting, you might do more of a body scan one. You know, more for anxiety and stuff. So there's different types for different things in life ultimately. But it just brings you back to center. And like think today, both of you, right? Like, has there been any moment you've literally sat there and done nothing all day? We wake up, we're on our phone, we're out, we're at the gym, then we're commuting, then we're working, then we're on the phone, then we're back home, then we're cooking. It's just relentless. You need time just to reset. Also, be with yourself, because if you're all external, then you're just consuming stuff, but you're not actually sitting with yourself. Oh, how do I actually feel about that? How am I going to show up today? Okay, I'm worried about that, but it's okay because of X, Y, Z. So it's just sitting with yourself. So meditation is a game changer. And I want to actually do something around that, you know, for recruiters as well, because I needed it, definitely, you know, and it's helped me a lot. And I feel a lot of people, not just recruiters, people need it, period, in my opinion, but recruiters would benefit massively from it. So I'm putting out there now, I'm going to do something for recruiters with a friend of mine.
Awesome.
Around mindfulness, around meditation. Because here's the thing, right? If I had a pill now, no side effects, it's going to make you more focused, more calmer, a bit more gentle, a bit more mindful, less anxious. Would you take it, or?
I'd be popping it every 5 minutes.
There we go. So why don't people meditate for 3 or 5 minutes a day? I don't understand it, but I'm really passionate about that.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Cool.
It's really good. Appreciate that.
All good.